In the Tall Grass is not a movie for everyone. In fact, it may only be my kind of movie because I'm biased based on my history with Stephen King. Considering he's my favorite author, I'm a little more partial to film adaptations of his work, even if they're lacking in certain elements or if they leave out large portions of the narrative for the modern inattentive audience. Out of all the movies based on his novels, I've read and seen almost every one, but In the Tall Grass is an exception. I haven't actually read this book, which was co-written with his son, Joe Hill, but I did watch this film last night, and I found it interesting. It's not without its flaws, but I kind of dug this one a little more than I thought I would, based on what little premise I had. And that's the thing about some of Stephen King's works. A lot of times, things just happen. They don't have a reason. And I'm almost always able to allow myself to just go into that universe and be okay with that. I feel pretty at home in his universe where the normal and mundane lives of people are turned upside down due to outside and often supernatural influences. I don't need all the pieces to a puzzle if the mystery is engaging enough, and I've always found myself deeply enthralled in his storytelling because of his uncanny ability to make me care so deeply about his characters. So when I logged into Netflix last night and this big fat advertisement right there on the front page was for In the Tall Grass, and I just happened to glance down there and saw Stephen King's name, I just hit play. Our story starts with Becky, a pregnant woman who is being driven across country by her brother Cal to meet with another family as she's considering giving up her soon-to-be-born child for adoption. Now, according to Cal, the father Travis is like a deadbeat loser, but all we really have to go on at this point is his word, so who knows. Now, feeling a bit nauseous, she asks Cal to pull over, which he does in front of an old decrepit church that's basically falling apart. As they are about to pull off, Becky hears a child calling for help from deep within the tall grass across the road. Now, after Cal heads in to investigate, Becky follows shortly after, and then shit just starts to go crazy because they get lost in there, and no matter what they try, they can't seem to locate one another.
Cal? Something's not right about this. I think we should head back to the road.
Jumping in the air together to spot each other's location, shit gets really weird the second time they do this, and neither of the two can make sense of what's happening to them. Now, running like hell for his sister, Cal eventually trips and discovers a dead dog in the grass, which doesn't seem too out of place, I suppose, but it freaks him out, and as the sun gradually sets, the two still haven't located one another. Now, even darker still, this new dude appears named Ross, frightening the hell out of Becky, which, I could kind of understand, but he explains that he's in there trying to locate his wife, Natalie, and his son, Tobin. Now, these are the two voices that we just heard.
You can find my brother?
Your brother, I'll try, yeah. Not like walking a straight line, though.
Now, the two of them stick together for now, trying to locate Cal, who is sniveling like a little baby all alone in the field when Tobin, that kid we heard calling for help, stumbles across him and delivers a pretty dark prophecy to him concerning Becky.
She's gonna die soon.
Now, when Cal asks him how he knows Becky is his sister, he gives a pretty mysterious answer. It's one of those things you'd only get out of a Stephen King novel.
The rock. The rock teaches you to hear the tall grass. The tall grass knows everything.
Now, Ross and Becky continue their search for Cal, but when Ross gets too far ahead of her and seemingly disappears into thin air, she finds the woman from earlier.
Cal!
Now, at the same time, Tobin is supposed to be taking Cal to find Becky, but he instead leads him to the center of the field, where there's this huge stone with these intricate, well, not really intricate, but these human-like figures carved into it. It's just foreboding. There's definitely something sinister about this thing. Now, as Cal is about to lay his hands on it, the sound of Becky screaming from somewhere in the grass stops him in his tracks before he runs off to find her.
Wait! You'll never find her that way!
We're next introduced to Travis, the father of Becky's child, who is driving the same route in search of them both. He spots their car at the church and stops to investigate, but finding nothing inside the church except locked doors, he heads back outside. Now, something catches his eye out in the middle of the road, and when he investigates, he finds that it's a book. Now, going on what little logic he has in this situation, he too wades off into the tall grass, but is at least smart enough, unlike the other ones, to start tying the grass into knots, kind of like his marker, so he can find his way back out. Yeah, well, the grass didn't like that, I guess. Now, deeper he goes, calling out for Becky and getting no answer until again the sun is set. It's now night, and Travis too is lost in the tall grass. You gotta admit, it's as intriguing as all hell at this point if you're into these kind of stories. The sound of something approaching frightens him, and as Tobin appears right behind him, he shushes him and tells him to listen.
If you don't pay attention, they go away.
Creepy, I guess, I don't know.
The people who are stuck in here. But They're not connected to us, so it doesn't matter.
Tobin seems to be a lot of the plot device in this movie and possibly in the book. He just seems to deliver a little bit of exposition here and there.
We are connected?
He also confuses the hell out of Travis and us by claiming that they've met before.
You don't remember?
Look, kid, we've never met before. I'm trying.
Travis.
It seems true as he knows their names, relationship, and all. Demanding to be taken to Becky, Tobin agrees to show him, even if he won't like what he sees. He doesn't.
Becky. Oh, Becky.
Now, the next day, Travis wakes up. Becky's body is still there, and he takes a small necklace from her as a keepsake before continuing on his way, trying to locate an exit. Hearing voices, he begins to call and scream for help, and here we get the first what the fuck moment as we find Tobin, along with his mother, Dog Freddy, and Dad Ross across the street at the same time at the same church from earlier. What? Now Tobin hears Travis calling for help from the bushes, and when Freddy runs in, Tobin follows, along with Mom, and then Dad, and Travis, unsure of what the hell is happening, tries warning them not to come in, which they've already done, so oh well on that, but seriously, what the hell? I know I said I'm cool with not explaining everything, but this shit just comes out of nowhere.
I'm afraid, Daddy. Did you hear that?
Is this thing warping time or something? That's pretty cool if so.
He went right by us.
No, honey!
Tobin!
He went the other way!
I feel like the book would explain this. I just has to. So as expected, night falls and everyone's lost and separated, and Ross is pretty pissed about it, huffing and puffing, when he too stumbles across the giant stone in the center of the field. I don't know how many of you out there have read In. It's like one of my favorite Stephen King stories ever, but goddamn, I'm getting vibes from that story right now. A bunch of weird grass shots and chanting later, the timeline is going all out of whack again as we find Becky and Cal pulling over to the side of the road, about to enter the tall grass same as before, only this time Travis is inside. And hearing the voice of Becky and Cal, he screams out to them, which they hear, and now everyone is confused.
Why? Why the fuck are you here?
But how did you get here before us?
Now, that's what I'd like to know. The trio attempt to locate Tobin, who has just stumbled across his poor dog, and Travis manages to find him first, followed by Becky, and soon after Cal. So now all four of them, and the body of Freddy, I guess, are all together in this one spot. And here, my theory of time is starting to play out. Travis claims that they've been missing for 2 months.
We just left 2 days ago.
No, it was longer than that. It was more like 2 months.
So Cal and Travis argue with one another. Get used to that. And Becky demands they just get the hell out of here at any cost.
Why? What's the point?
The point is, I don't want to stay here.
I'm with you. And Travis throws Tobin up on his shoulders, attempting to get an advantage to their view, and spotting a building in the distance. Off they head towards it, arguing along the way. A bit of drama comes in here too, as Travis and Becky have a little moment about their baby.
Well,
I just don't care. The movie hasn't really given me any reason to care. Interrupting the moment, however, Becky's phone rings, and when she answers, everyone is further confused with what they hear. Now off they go, still in search of the building, and it seems Becky was right about someone watching them. That's probably Ross. Now along the way, Becky gets weak and passes out, experiencing hallucinations of sorts involving blood, birds, the grass, her baby. Just a bunch of weird shit to be weird, but it's pretty cool, I guess. Now as Cal and Travis realize what happened, rushing back to her, Ross too appears and performs CPR on her, resuscitating her. And as Travis lifts Tobin on his shoulders, again looking for the building, it's gone.
That's the way things work around here.
Now Ross leads them deeper into the center, takes them all to the rock, and along the way, they try to have a little bit of exposition delivered as Ross and Travis kind of pick at one another.
Let me guess, lead singer in a band?
It's just not interesting.
kinda.
Maybe if at the beginning of the movie they had did like a scene where they show Travis and Becky splitting up over the baby, and then they did like a 2 months later. I mean, maybe that's cliche, but at least it would have kind of let me know right away, okay, this Travis guy's a deadbeat, instead of just having Cal tell me that. So I'm just not that invested in their relationship, much less the baby. Either way, when they're at the stone, this is the guts of the movie, or at least all you're gonna get.
Those native? I think it's a safe bet. It's been here since before the Kiowa hunted on the Osage Cuestas.
The movie just rushes what little exposition there is about this stone, its history and all that. Ross just kind of glosses over it. He seems to be obsessed with it, and we don't really know why, but...
Probably was here before the glaciers came and carried the hills away.
He doesn't give me enough about the stone. I want to know more about the stone, damn it.
You realize we're in the center of the contiguous United States.
It's because I like that end story so much. Now, telling them that they'll know everything if they simply place their hand upon it, Cal almost does so until Natalie, Ross's wife, comes screaming from the bushes that they need to stay away from him at all costs. She accuses him of lying to them, says he's gonna hurt them. He's just nuts.
Whatever he said to you, he's lying.
Now, she's also in shock at the sight of Becky, whom she saw dead on the ground moments ago.
She wasn't alive.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, Ross begins to flip character here as he suddenly turns into the bad guy, and I kind of like this guy, honestly. I think he's a good villain, but they just didn't give me enough backstory on him. It's kind of hard to get behind his motives and accept that The Rock might have turned him this way, because they didn't spend that much time on The Rock either.
Look, thanks for your help, mister, but I think we're gonna go our own way now.
I just feel kind of stuck in the middle of all this awesomeness, and I want it to be a little bit more than it is.
No, just a minute, just to hear me out.
Like, Ross's obsession with this rock and the secrets that it might hold,
Once you touch it, you'll know.
it's a really good angle.
It's like a whoosh. It's better than anything. It's like accepting the host.
And I feel like the book probably explored that more, because they almost always do.
I know that sounds like blasphemy, but it's true.
Either way, Ross goes nuts and Travis attacks him, telling everyone else to run, but Ross gets the upper hand in the fight. Now, Tobin manages to escape into Becky's arms and witnesses Ross crush Natalie's head right before his eyes. A lot of people seem to take issue with this. I mean, I'm guessing the stone is what gives him the strength. It's not that hard to figure out, but they didn't really do a good job explaining it, so I feel you. So everyone's running for their lives from Ross locating the building from earlier, which apparently is an old rundown bowling alley where they hide inside. And knowing Ross will find them, there's little time to form a plan, but apparently enough time to argue as Cal starts giving Travis a bunch of shit over his bad decisions.
Are you forgetting the little detail that he completely abandoned you? That he totally threw you away? That he wanted you to abort your own baby?
Everyone's tension is through the roof, and after arguing and scuffling over a bunch of nothing, the group end up running to the roof soon when Ross is breaking down the doors.
He's not gonna get through that without a sledgehammer.
The fun of the movie just kind of slows down here. Maybe it's because we're not in the tall grass anymore. Now, spotting the church across the street and knowing they won't make it back through the grass, Freddy appears on the ground beneath them and seems to have found a warp or a gateway of sorts to the other side, and when Travis climbs to get a closer look, he slips. Now, Cal grabs him. You think he's going to rescue him, but then he's taken over by the darkness or whatever, I guess, and he just lets him fall. I don't even care. Now, Ross appears now, having climbed to the roof, which frightens Tobin off, and back down everyone goes. Back into the grass everyone goes. Becky wondering where Travis is and getting suspicious of Cal in the process. Ross appears, threatens Cal, chases him down.
Your mistake is thinking you're ever leaving.
Strangles him in a field full of bodies. Pretty cool, honestly. But it just took too long. Now, Travis, still alive, no surprise there, comes to and makes his way into the grass, calling out for Becky, whom he can't locate but at least can hear, and across the field, the two have their little makeup session. They just talk about the baby until Ross appears, grabbing Becky and getting weird with it.
You want to touch the rock, darling? You want to lay on it naked? Want to feel me in you?
Luckily, she puts a stop to that shit. I love how silent it is. One more time. Now, running for her life through the downpour, she begins to hear the chants, and this time is unlucky enough to see who's making them as the field comes alive before her. Bodies of, I don't know what, grass children? They just come to life and start pulling her under into whatever fate awaits her. Whatever that was. Now, dumping her at the base of the rock, alone and terrified, she makes a phone call. You see where this is going, don't you?
Don't let Cal hurt Travis.
I mean, damn it!
Don't leave him. Just stay with him.
I love it, but I don't fucking understand it.
Or else we're gonna keep making the same mistakes forever. Hello, who is this?
I don't understand anything about this. Now the ground is opening up like it too wants to give birth to something. And then the coolest fucking shot of the movie. Countless writhing bodies litter the ground beneath the stone as if they are its very living roots. Arms and legs reach and grasp for anything as the chants increase, the rain pours, and I have no fucking idea what's going on. And then Becky awakens, groggy, confused, as Cal sits above her, giving her water and food.
Big bunches of grass.
What the hell? Is he feeding her own baby?
Made grass.
Because grass is the circle of life? I don't know.
Here's another piece.
Maybe I don't want to know. Eventually, Travis stumbles across Becky, and Tobin appears as well, realizing what's happening to them.
He's gonna keep killing us over and over
So they're in a loop now?
and over
What happened?
and over again.
Suddenly, I just don't care as much.
And it's never gonna stop.
Ross appears, seems to kill Travis, and grabs Tobin, trying to make him touch the rock. Then Becky appears, saving Tobin. And Travis pops up, saving Becky. He kills Ross. Hell, I don't know if he's really dead. I thought Becky was dead. I'm not wasting any more time on this. After all this, Travis puts his hand on the rock so he knows everything, including the way out, so he just takes Tobin and kind of tosses him through a gateway. He comes out of the church and, taking Travis's words, runs to Cal and Becky, who were about to pull into the church and head into the grass to the sounds of his own voice.
Didn't we hear him?
Wrap your head around that one. This time, Tobin, the one out here, manages to convince both Cal and Becky to not head into the grass, apparently breaking the cycle, and leaving Travis inside as a punishment or redemption. I don't really know. This movie just kind of runs out of gas somewhere along the way. Kind of like me trying to review it. We both stopped caring. God, airplanes are so loud here. I love things about this movie. The imagery, the visuals, the way the grass weaves itself into your life and in through your heart. All those weird shots and stuff. I'm okay with stuff like that if it looks good. There's not really anything I hate about this movie. It just doesn't have something, and I can't pinpoint exactly what. I think I just wanted to know more about that stone. And like I said, maybe the book tells me more about that stone. I don't know. Those of you that have read it, and I'm looking at you, Daniel, let me know. Overall, this thing was filled with things that I love about Stephen King. The aspects of his storytelling. But as usual, most visual adaptations of his work just lack something. And I guess it's imagination. That's why we read to begin with, right?